Welcome, welcome everybody. Happy Friday. So glad it's finally Friday. I don't know about you guys, but Lord have mercy, it's been a week. Welcome to the third part of Seesaw. We're going to look at blended learning today. There is so much that we can do with Seesaw and the possibilities are unlimited. So we're going to kind of open the cap of those possibilities today as we learn how to use a couple of other features in Seesaw. Let me pull up my closed captionings and get those started. So we are going to look at multimedia instructions when creating an activity and using video within Seesaw. So I want you to, you'll have your mind blown by today, I promise. So let's see who is with us, and I want to see what your relationship is with Seesaw today. So if you will type your name in the chat and one word to describe your relationship with Seesaw. So my example is Teresa, enthusiast. Carrie, we won't offer it again, but we will have it recorded. We'll send it to you. Just send us an email. Yes, hooked for sure. Confused? No. We'll see if we can clear up some of those confusions. Jane, always go back and do it. They have changed the ambassador program just a little bit. They've added another layer in between. It's called Seesaw Pioneer. So it's my understanding that you do that and then you get to the Seesaw ambassador and then there's another level above that. It's complicated. Love it. Love, love, love. All right, so again, welcome everybody. So just a heads up about our final evidence of learning. So between today and May the 28th, you're going to submit your link to your blended learning activity that we're going to make today. Hopefully we'll get it finished today, if not, once you get it finished. And if you are doing a student example, that needs to be completed as well. Remember, if you're not using it with students right now, that you can turn on your sample student and you can create one as an example for your kiddos. Your final reflection question is, what is your next steps and what would you still like to learn? Now, this is our last session, but if there's a bunch of like more additional learning that you guys want or more support, we can look at some ways that we can kind of help with that. The sample student evidence that you're submitting can be any of the activities that we've done. So remember the very first session when we were together, we found an activity that we kind of liked and we tweaked it a little bit. If your students completed that one, then you can submit that as an example. Or if you went in as sample student and completed that, you can submit that one. Last week, we put together a template that the students were using. Most of them were drag and drop activities. Great job on those, by the way. I tried to send feedback out to everybody yesterday on that. Or the one that we're creating today, where we're going to either have video with it or the multimedia piece that you guys worked on the template. So I did go through and I looked at your questions, and these were some pretty prevalent questions that came up. And we'll still take questions, and remember this is very informal, so you can unmute your microphone and just ask. But a big question has been, how do I get the students to actually complete the activities? So our answer is to provide those engaging activities, give them lots of instructions, and use videos. And you're going to see why today video is kind of important. And that helps make that learning a little bit deeper. Some of the activities that you'll see in the community activity library, I would punch my eye out if I had to do those. So kind of think about that when you're looking at those activities that's been created. It goes along with that, how do you handle all of the approving of the post? Be very judicious about what you're assigning in Seesaw. And I kind of talked about this in our first session. Use it as a tool that's going to really add something to your lesson or your content. Don't just use it to have a technology piece in your lesson, because then it's not valuable. So use it when it's appropriate. And honestly, once you build the expectations at the beginning of the year, I would start not approving it. I mean, not worrying about the approving piece and just let them start posting. Because once you build those expectations and lay that groundwork, they're going to know that only the good stuff is going to get on there, and they know those expectations and they'll rise to that. So that's my 2 cents worth on that. And the other question was, how do I work Seesaw into classroom routines? The same as the above. Work it in where it fits naturally. Don't just use Seesaw to use a tech tool. Let's don't think like Tech Tuesday or Tech Thursday. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's do a quick review before we dive in, because we're going to spend a lot of time in Seesaw itself today. So we learned last week how to create our own activities. We know that we click the big add button and we go click create new activity, and we fill out a form to make our activity look like this. So our activity today, we're going to actually have a multimedia example in the window, the preview window. And what happens when you do this, the students actually have the ability to click on that before they add the assignment to work on it. And they can always go back and click on it. I'm going to show you how it looks as a student before we start building them today. So when we create our activities, just like you guys did last week, you're giving them those concise step-by-step directions and popping in those visual cues as you can. I love that most of you had that parent why or that family why in yours, and a lot of you had those audio recordings for your students. And you can still add those templates. So my masterpiece today that I'm going to work from has all of these components to it. So again, we fill out the details, and our focus today is on this section here, the add multimedia instructions or examples, because we can only add one item here and one template. So the workaround is that multimedia slide that I showed you an example of, that we can create and add that. And you can actually add more than one slide if you put them all together in a presentation. So don't forget, the multimedia tools that we have to use are all of these tools that our kiddos have as well. So we can use this video and add a video as a multimedia example. And I'm going to show you guys that today. We also can upload folders or files, and we can add links. Don't forget that there are some limitations to what we can upload, but remember, any file can come in from Google Drive, and you have up to 1 megabyte of photo space and 500 megabyte of video. When we're using videos, the most we can record is 5 minutes within Seesaw, and really that's probably enough. If it's not, I'll show you another option that you guys can use. And if you want to do audio comments, you have up to 2 minutes. So these are just refreshers. I re-linked all of the, I can't even think this morning, icons that we can put in for our instructions, as well as the emoji pieces, and the create an activity cheat sheet. So let's go over to Seesaw. So if you guys will watch my screen for just a minute before you really look at your Seesaw account. I am going to go into my ad because I have not assigned this activity yet. So this is the activity that I'm going to create, that I've already done, that I'm going to show you guys how to do. And I'm only going to assign it to one student. Remember last week we talked about how we can differentiate. So I'm going to assign it to my sample student only. That way, and I would do this as a teacher, that way your kiddos cannot see the assignment until you assign it to them. So now I am going to click on my sample student, go to the activities folder. Now I am in my activities folder, but I have not clicked the add response. So guys, watch. When I click this icon that's up in the top left-hand corner, It opens full screen. And now all of the stuff that I have given them is accessible to them. So they can play this video. All before they get into the activity. They can click on this activity to go into the phases of the moon, and I didn't enable my flash, so I'm not going to show you that. And they also can go to the offline activities of things that they can do before they actually add the activity to their library. So let's say I'm a student, I've done all this stuff, so now I'm ready to follow the instructions to do the Seesaw activity. So I close out of this tab, and it brings me back here. So now as a student, I can add response. And now I'm in my activity. If I still need to view those instructions, the option is at the very top of the screen. So it still pulls this back up, and I can go back into the link. So that is how it works from a student perspective. That's where we're going. So questions on that?
So Teresa, you're saying that they can, even if they go ahead and add the response to do the lesson, they can still have access to the blended learning sheet by just clicking view instructions?
Exactly.
Okay.
So they get the preview, they get the front loading of the lesson, just like we would do as in the class. And then they could do the activity. If they need to go back, instead of raising their hand and asking you, they just click that instructions. So yes, love it. Any other questions about how it looks from a student perspective? All right, so let me show you guys how to do this to where when they click the little icon on the activity, it goes full screen like this for them. So if you would, go find your activity template that you guys filled out. Now, even though we can pull this in from any file, can come in from Google, to make it go full screen like it did, we're actually going to publish it to the web. And we're going to grab a link and put it in that way. So I'm going to give you just a second to make sure everybody has their template pulled up. And again, it's hard for me to know where you guys are, so you have to help me. If I'm going too fast, slow me down. All right, so hopefully you have your template pulled up. Go up to your menu and click on the word File. And 3/4 of the way down in that menu, find Publish to the Web. And I'm going to pause right here to make sure everybody's there. I see a few people are still pulling up their template. By the way, I've also put these instructions with little screenshots in your presentation, so you'll see that in your presentation as well. All right, so hopefully you guys have it up. Click on the word File in your menu. And again, 3/4 of the way down the page, or on that menu page, click Publish to the Web. Now mine is already published, but you guys should have a golden button that says publish. Actually, let me flip over to this so I can have something that looks exactly like what you guys have. All right, so you'll see the golden button that says publish. Before you click publish, notice that you could publish this to where the slideshow starts automatically and restarts. We don't want to do that. We're just going to publish straight as it is. If you click the arrow right under the golden button, it says publish content and settings. The only option that's under there is require viewers to sign in with their Gaston County Schools account. I would not choose that. So I wouldn't even open that. So it's just file, publish to the web, and click the publish button. And when you guys click the publish button, you're going to get a message. Are you sure you want to publish this? It's okay. And then you're going to copy that link. If you're on a Chromebook, it's Control-C. If you're on a PC, it's Control-C. If you're on a Mac, it's Command-C.
Teresa, did you say we leave the 3-second default? We don't mess with it at all?
Don't mess with it because we're not going to auto advance the slides. Just leave it as is. You do have you have options to do other choices to it, but just leave it as is. All right, so everybody has their link, right? All right, so now let's head over to Seesaw. And we are going to create our activity. So we click on the green plus and assign activity. And under My Library, we're going to click Create New Activity. Now, while we have that link copied, let's go ahead to the Add Multimedia Instructions or Example plus sign in the Student Instruction box. Click that. Now, our tendency is we want to upload it from Drive. Not in this case, guys. Remember, we grabbed the link. So go all the way over to the right-hand bottom side of your screen and click Link. And paste that in. Oh, snap, I recopied that. Let me go grab my link again. Hold, please. You guys go ahead and do that. Copy. Paste. So once you get your link pasted in, click the green check in the top corner and click Continue. Do not click Go to Add File. So just ignore that. And I'm pretty sure I put that in the instructions. If I didn't, I'll go back. So click Continue. Give it a second to upload it. And then green check. And that takes you back to your editing tools to where you can put in your activity name, your student instructions, and the template if you have one to go with it. Now remember, guys, you don't have to have a template for every single activity that you guys create because the students have all of those multimedia tools that they can use to create their response. So once you click the green check, you should be back to where you're going to type in your activity information. So I'm going to pause and let you guys work on filling out the rest of your activity information. And while you're doing that, I'm going to pull up my example on the screen.
Teresa, if you already had an activity that you wanted to add that to, you wouldn't create a new one. You would just open up that activity, edit it, and add the multimedia, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Kelly, we're not ready to assign yet. We haven't added the activity unless you're doing just like, I think it was Josette maybe that said that, where you're editing a created activity that you already have and you're just dropping this multimedia piece to it.
Okay, I got behind because my computer was really slow. So where I'm at is I've linked it, I published it to the web, and I have the link. Now what do I do?
All right, so now go to your Seesaw account,
Right,
click on create, go to your library.
all right, I don't see my library.
Click on the big green plus in the top corner.
Right,
Click assign activity,
okay,
and that should take you right into your My Library.
right, okay,
All right, so now click on the plus sign where it says create new activity,
okay,
and click where it says add multimedia example in the student instruction box,
okay,
and paste that link in.
where it says link.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Just when you get the box to pull up, don't add it from Drive. Click continue on that piece.
Just click the green check.
Yes.
Okay,
And continue and green check again. All right, great question in the chat. What's the best way to describe how to click on getting the instructions? So there's a couple of ways. At the very beginning of your student instructions, you could just say, click the link in the corner. Obviously, if we were in a classroom, you'd walk them through that the first time. If you're using it offline, you're just going to have to do click the link or the picture in the top left-hand corner. And then somewhere in there, and you can kind of see on my screen what I would do. I've got tap add to begin the activity and then click on view instructions at the top of the screen. So I'm doing mine for an older, like third grade for the moon. So I didn't put that about clicking the link in the top corner, but I did have view those instructions at the top of the screen. So that's what I would put in the student directions.
So Teresa, what I'm wondering is if you're doing this as a blended and you have a Seesaw, you start with the directions to go to the blended first and do those activities, and then the last set of instructions would be to submit the Seesaw activity?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, guys, remember we are recording this session. So if you want the recording, Christy's going to clean it up to where all these wait and pauses come out for you guys. So if you will email her That way she can just respond to your email with the link once she gets it all cleaned up. Yes, Kim, you can go into the community library and search for first grade or kindergarten to find some ideas to jump off from. There's very few in there that I find that I would use straight out. I would do tweaking on almost everything I find in the community library. First, it's got to fit my standards. Second, it's got to fit my kids. But it's a great place to go grab ideas. So the question is, can you pull in a template that you find? You're going to have to pull in that activity and edit the activity. There's no way to download a template out of an already created activity. Now, elementary people, I'm going to tell you guys that your elementary ITF have tons of templates. We've created lots of things in Google Drawing. We've created lots of things in Google Slides that go along with the courses that we've offered in the past. So if there's something that you're looking for that you can't find, email your ITF and we'll see if we have it first before you have to create one from scratch. Don't forget, once you finish all of your stuff, to save your work, and then you'll be ready to assign it to your students. Christy has put her email in the chat. So those of you that need the recording, please send her that request. So guys, take about 2 more minutes to work on what you have, because I want to get into the video piece. Lauren, I've made a, can I link it in here? Lauren, link it in where? I don't understand. I'm not following. It's too early, girl. I'm not following your question. With your instructions. Yes, you can. But remember, you can't really get a link straight to the particular activity, so you have to link it to the activities page in your class.
Teresa, if we have a link in our blended to go to a Seesaw activity, but they're already in the Seesaw activity when they go to the blended, do they need to click on that link? They're already there.
No, you don't need to. That's why in my example, I just said, complete the drag and drop activity. Follow those directions carefully.
Thanks.
Sure. Yes, Leslie, it would just be under the student template. Everything would be in one place. So if I go back to my example that I showed you, at the top left-hand corner is my multimedia piece that they can look at. And then once they actually get in there and open it up as a student, that template will pop up to where they're going to do a drag and drop to put the moon in place and label the moon. All right, if you would just get to a stopping place and save what you've done. Remember, you can always come back in here and edit to finish it out. So a couple of things that I wanted to talk about this template that I gave you. This is just one example, guys. You don't have to do it exactly like this. I picked the 3 of the 5 E's because it's easy to kind of engage your kids. You know what you're going to do to hook your kids in this lesson. You're going to give them material to explore, then you're going to give them a chance to explain. The district's going to come down with 3 different ways to do the same thing. And honestly, my mind just went blank on what they're calling those. Christy, do you remember?
No, not off the top of my head. It's early.
But it's the same idea. You give them stuff to do, you give them things to explore, and you give them a way to show what they've learned. So I just used the 3 E's out of the 5 because that is like from discovery education, that's huge in there. It's a lot of things for the science. It's in our pacing guides that way for science. So I just pulled it that way. So the reason that I created it this way is everything is embedded in one place and the kids don't have to go out of Seesaw that much, especially for a video. So the YouTube video I put in there, and some of you linked your video and I sent you back, like, have you considered embedding your video in there? That way the kids are not going out to YouTube and then going down a rabbit trail of other things that they're seeing that they want to watch and not getting their way back to Seesaw. So it's just kind of a way to package everything together. And when we think of blended, we have to think about ways that we can give them our support and then ways that they can work on their own, either in our classrooms or from their home, because we don't know what next year is going to look like. So
Teresa,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I was going to tell you that we also do those 5 E's in the C3 units that K5s used to do in for social studies. So
Right.
If they remember those.
Right. So that's kind of where I pulled that framework. And you didn't have to do it exactly like I did. It's fine. I saw some of you shared yours with me already and asked for comments, and what I've seen so far is great. You could put like a poem in here. You could, I mean, it doesn't have to be videos, but just when you're thinking videos, if you can pull them in from here and not have them go down the rabbit trail on YouTube, that would be really good. So with that said, on our presentation on slide 15, those are the screenshots and the steps of how to get that slide published to the web. And in the speaker notes, I'm telling you guys, when it asks for a Google slide, ignore that and click continue. So all of those instructions are there for you on slide number 15. So now, are there any questions before I go into videoing?
Teresa, I'm sorry. I know I already asked you this, but then my dog started barking. So when I was asking you about adding, like I made the assignment in Seesaw that I want to go with my Engage, Explore, Explain.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I don't know if I'm just having a moment but I don't know when I'm going to, I want to add a template so they can drag and drop their goods and services that I made, but I can't figure out how to add it underneath the link, the instructions part.
Okay, so to do the template, let me go back over to my Seesaw and put this back in edit mode. To do the template, remember that's under the student template section, and you'll have that plus to add the template itself.
And then when I click the plus, it says it wants me to add like a photo, a drawing, a video, but
Or a link.
Okay.
But really what you've created, Lauren, is probably in Google, right?
No, I created it through Seesaw. Well, I did the Engage, Explore, Explain through Google, but the Seesaw activity I created in Seesaw.
Oh, okay. Well, can you go edit the Seesaw activity that you've already created and add your Engage, Explore, Explain template to that one?
Oh, yeah. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, I'll try that.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I think we're all like, we're ready for Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
All right. Great question, though. Are there any others?
Teresa,
So that, hold that question for a minute. So here's another idea. So you go find an activity that's already in the activity library. Maybe it's okay if you add your multimedia pieces to it, or what I'm getting ready to show you, and tweak it enough, and then you don't have to create everything totally from scratch. Okay, I heard a question coming out.
yes. I wondered about, like, in under Explore for my activity, I put an anchor chart for the children to go back to and refer, but I teach kindergarten, so I wanted to be able to add audio to that. And I know that's not really part of what we're doing right now, but if that's something you can think about later and try to guide me through how I could read that for the kids. I did do a podcast and I recorded it, but now I'm having trouble getting it in there.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, because I want to show you something in a minute that will answer that question.
Thank you.
You're perfect. No problem. All right. Others?
I have a question.
Okay, Lisa.
When I did my drop and drag activity, I used images from the web, and I just pulled them onto a Google Doc so I could move them on. Can I do that? Instead of using words, I use images for my drag and drop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I'll figure out how. I'll work on it later. I hadn't done it yet, but I'll work on it.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? I'm so excited. Okay. So now let's think about using videos for instruction. Another shameless plug. If you guys want to learn more about how to use Bitmoji, sign up for my session next Tuesday. All right, so think about videos for instruction. This is perfect for blended learning. This is perfect for where we are right now. So it's great that we can use Zoom or Google Meet and bring all of our kids together, but it may not be the best way to deliver instruction. We may want to deliver instructions asynchronously. That means we're not all together at one time, because we don't know how many computers the kids have, how their internet is stable, if their parents are working from home, and what have you. So why should we even think about using video? You'll see on the screen there's lots of different reasons. As a teacher, we can use that to help build background knowledge. We can deepen their learning. It makes another one of us. So as another one of us, we can clone ourselves. We can demo a strategy. We can reteach something that needs to be redone. We can do a mini lesson, and we can model what students need to do, all with video. And guys, we can use Seesaw to make that happen. Two possible ways. There's more, but I'm going to show you just two possible ways to do it. So the first one is to do the live video within Seesaw. Remember, I told you have a 5-minute limit, and you can actually use the video recorder in Seesaw itself to do your mini lesson. So you could have your little chart paper, you can have your markers, whatever you need to do your mini lesson. So watch. I'm going back to Seesaw. I'm going into my add, assign activity. I'm going to create a new activity. And for my multimedia instructions or examples in the student instruction box, I am going to click video. Now I can do whatever I need to do and teach my little babies and tell them whatever I need them to tell them by simply clicking record. And then remember, I have that 5-minute span to do my mini lesson. And while I'm doing the mini lesson, I may say, pause the video and do XYZ. Pause the video and stop and jot. Whatever my mini lesson has to do with. Once I'm finished, I click done. It uploads it just like it does our multimedia example that we pulled from Google Slides. I click check just like I did from Google Slides, and voila. See my little video clip? When I click save, demo, I click save, all of my instructions, we're going to pretend it's there. Look guys, booyah. Ah! Thoughts? Guys, that should be a mic drop.
If you do that, can you also still have your blended sheet on there, or do they only allow you one multimedia attachment?
They only allow you one multimedia attachment. But if you want to do that, that video that you create, not using the Seesaw piece, you can create your own videos, which I'm going to get back to what Daphne was asking about in another way. I know, Mary, right? This is easy. So again, you just use the tools that are in Seesaw. So I have given you guys the step-by-step directions on how to do that. You just click video and record. Yes, Anna, we've got to teach our kids that new language where you have to pause the video, go do X, and come back and push play. All right. I see we need the link drop back into the chat. Christy, will you do that, please? All right, any questions on creating a live video? All right, so let's say, Daphne and Rebecca, that you need other things recorded, and you can put that particular recording into your Google Slide. So I don't know how many of you have been using Screencastify or Loom already. There are extensions that can be added to your Chrome browser. When you video record in any of those, you have some options. You can just record yourself. So if you want to just record yourself like I just did inside of Seesaw, Loom and Screencastify will give you those options. Both of those will save into your Google Drive, and then you can pull those into your Google Slide. So Daphne, that anchor chart that you have, you could actually do a screen recording of it with you in there as well and talking about it. So let me show you guys how that works for those of you that haven't used Screencastify or Loom. I have both extensions. Screencastify looks like a little fish. It looks like this here. It will save automatically into Drive. Loom will let you download it and put it into Drive. So I'm going to demo Loom. They both work exactly the same way, okay? So I am in my digital space that I want to record for my students. I go to my extension, and my choices are I can use the screen, record what's on my computer, and me. So on my screen right now, you guys see, I'm being blinded by the sun. You guys see my screen and you see my little thumbnail in the bottom corner. If I don't want my picture on there, but guys, your kids want to see you, you can choose screen only, Or if you just want to do a talking mini lesson, you can do cam only, and then it's only going to be you, nothing showing on the screen. So in this example, I'm going to record both screen and camera, and I'm going to start recording. And Loom gives you, it won't let me record while I'm doing Zoom and recording. So you click start recording, it counts it down, and you do your lesson, and then you stop, and it gives you the option to download. So since it won't let me record, let me go over to my Loom account and I'll show you guys. So let's pretend that this is the video that I just created. And notice that I have a download option. So I can download this video and put it in Google Drive. And then it's super easy to pull it into my template. So let me do another. Now it's giving me the option. I'm not recording now. Close that out. So if I go into my template, we're going to pretend this is my template. If I do insert, 4 down from the top is video, just like we did with YouTube. But notice that my third tab is Google Drive. So once it opens Google Drive, it's going to pull all of my videos. So if this is the video that I want to pull in, I pull it in. And voila, same deal. So instead of necessarily putting your mini lesson right within Seesaw, you can do it in your template. So maybe the engage piece is you doing a mini lesson or modeling for your kids or any of those things. All right, so that's pretty mind-blowing. Talk to me, what do you think? What are your questions?
Teresa,
Yes.
we've had a couple of questions over here about like it taking video space in Loom, and if you want to go over how, you know, once you get it in Drive, you can delete it from Loom so you kind of get that video back.
Okay, so let's do that question first. So I don't have this one in Drive. I actually have it in, I don't want to delete that one though. Let me go to my videos and find one that I don't really care about. I don't really have one I don't care about. Okay, let's do this one. Let's say that I don't want this video anymore. I can come to Loom and click the trash can, and it's going to ask me, do you really want to do this? And I click delete. So it takes it out of my Loom account, but it is still sitting in Drive. That's the beauty of using Drive. Okay, Christy, what's the other question?
Wait, I was answering another one. Let's see. Oh, how can you embed it into the Engage, Explore, Explain? So if you want to revisit how you get it to Drive and then bring it back in.
Okay, let me get rid of this video. So I am in my Google slide. And remember, I love slides for this for lots of reasons. One, the format is already perfect for Seesaw. And 2, you can do so much with it, including this multimedia stuff. So to insert a video, you go to your menu bar and you choose insert. And 4 down from the top is video. So you can pull in anything from YouTube by searching within here or going to the URL and pasting in the video link you've already found on YouTube. But your third tab is Google Drive. So any videos that you have already created, like here's one example instructions of me just doing a talking head. I click on it and pull it in, and it pulls my video in. So then I can resize it if I need to, which I would for a template, and put it wherever I need it to be on the screen. So the way that I do that is I record it, say, in Loom, and once I see it in Loom, there is a download button that I download and just put it up into my Google Drive. Mary Lou, I have found that the Chromebook video, and Christy, you correct me if I'm wrong, the video file, and she knows more about video files than I do, is the reason I'm saying that. The video file that comes out of using the Chromebook video is wonky.
Yes.
And it doesn't play well with other things. So personally, I don't use the video capability from the Chromebook. I use those other tools.
We also have found that it's hard, or we haven't found a way to reverse the camera. So if you're holding up a book, it's going to be backwards. Whereas if you use Loom, it adjusts and everything's perfect. So I would not recommend using the Chromebook camera either.
So the questions popped up again about Discovery Education and embedding videos from there. You cannot embed a video from Discovery Education. That is copyrighted. We're not supposed to even download that because it's a very expensive service that we pay for. You can link to anything in Discovery Education, but we cannot download or embed from it. Kind of scrolling through the chat, make sure I'm not missing anything else. It's like Christy's on it as usual. All right, so guys, any other questions about this? To me, this is a game changer. Even just using the video feature inside of Seesaw to deliver a little mini lesson for your kids. So for example, on that, I said model for your kids. Maybe you go in as sample student and model what they're supposed to do on the activity template that you give them. And I use my laptop, but it works. You can use Loom or Screencastify on a Chromebook. Speaking of which, guys, once we get back, I mean, your kids can use these tools too. They can use Screencastify or Loom. Even elementary now can use Loom. Before, we used to only have to use Screencastify with them. So they could make a little video explaining their work too. That's a whole nother section. Now, do you have to put a video in your examples for this series? No, but I wanted to give you that option if you would rather do that instead of doing a multimedia piece. I haven't had any issues with Loom crashing on me. Screencastify and Loom are about the same to me. I like both of them. They both have really good features. The benefit to Screencastify is it automatically saves into Drive, whereas Loom I have to download and upload it to Drive. If you are having issues with either of those extensions, I would just close everything out and restart.
You could even uninstall and reinstall the extension too.
And again, guys, it depends. Remember, we're using somebody else's server. So it depends on how many people are doing something with that at the same time. So another reason why I do these sessions as early in the morning as possible, because my internet doesn't do wonky things first thing in the morning. But at night, when people are gaming or streaming their TV or whatever, trying to do stuff online gets a little weird. All right, so with that said, let's talk about our final artifact piece. So again, on slide 22 is the link to the Google form. And when you click on it and you go down to topic, you guys see that you have part 3, but you also have the student work link as another. So you'll do actually 2 submissions for that. Part 3, when you click on that one, is where you add your template that we just did today, where you're adding that multimedia piece so I can see that activity. And then once you do it as a sample student or you have another kid do it, then you upload their link to it. So I need to go into Seesaw and show you guys where to grab links. So I'm going to go into my Seesaw class, into my journal, because remember, once it's submitted, it shows up on your journal. If you click the 3 dots on any of your student work and go to, I don't know, how far down is it? 4 up from the top, from the bottom, it says share item. Just copy that share link and pop it into the Google form. So you do that from your teacher page. Even if you do it as a sample student, you're still going to go to the journal and click the 3 dots, share item, and grab that link. And reminder, you have between today and May the 28th. I'm not going to look at any of it until after May 28th. I will give you feedback on it again. And then I will go into True North Logic and upload all of your credits. Yes, Diane, right now we have the pro version of Loom because of our COVID pandemic. We may not have the pro version once school starts back though. Yes, you can use any of the assignments for your student component that you've done. So any of them, the first one that you did an edit on, the second one that you did the template with, or the one that you're creating today with your multimedia activity. I just need to see how a student did with it.
If we're doing it as a sample student, we have to actually go in as a sample. How do we go in as a sample student if we're in teacher mode to add the response?
Okay, so in teacher mode, and I'm in teacher mode in my account, I click on journal and I have sample student activated. And remember, you go into your gear, your little wrench icon to do that. Click on sample student, then go to your activities tab and do add response. Choose your name, sample student, then do the activity. And I'm not really doing it. Click the check. And now it's been submitted. So as a teacher, I can come in under the journal and grab that link to share it.
Does that mean you can actually go in under any of your students and add and work on their stuff and turn it in, or is it just the sample student?
You can go into any of your kids and edit the item. Like this is one of my teachers doing, when I was doing PD, I'm now in edit mode, so I can go in and move any of this stuff around. You just go to your journal and click those 3 dots. As a teacher, you guys have lots and lots of power. Okay, I have to show this too. So you also have, as a teacher, the get item QR code. And notice that it puts an image of what that particular activity is or that particular submission. So you can see this teacher in her favorite book, but if I scan that code, it's going to go to that particular activity that we could actually watch the video or whatever it happens to be. That was free. All right, so in your resources, I have added some things. So I've put in a video on how to put a video in as an example. I have also added how to use Google Slides to link in multiple activities. So I've shown you that as a video as well. And then I've given you Seesaw support pages and a link to becoming a Seesaw pioneer and a link to the Seesaw teacher Facebook group. And of course, you can always reach out to your ITF. So I have been shamelessly plugging my Bitmoji session that's going to happen on Tuesday, and several of you are asking how to get to it to register. So I am going to pop the link into the chat so you guys can go there to register. Obviously, you're going to, once you get to the link that I just sent you, we're finishing up this week. So go to the bottom and click 518 to 529. And then you'll see my little Bitmoji under Tuesday, but the RSVP is up in the top corner. It's going to be fun, but I'm going to warn you, it's addictive. All right, so that is the end of our session and the end of our series. If you have any questions, Christy and I will hang out to answer them. Otherwise, you guys go off and have a great Friday. Remember to email Christy if you want a copy of the video. The title of the session is called Got Bitmoji. Jan, I don't have a credit card tied to mine at all, so I'm not sure about that.
It said that you could allow it to, but it has, like, when you have to give it access to things like your mic or whatever, like when programs ask for that, it said access to your text messaging. It says we record messages and be careful, automatically loaded credit cards. So like my thing will automatically load, my phone will automatically load my credit cards onto programs when it asks for it. And I was like, I don't want a program copying my private information.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
It made me really nervous when I downloaded it last night just to try it out.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if you knew of a way to keep it secure, because like it makes you use your phone to create it.
Yes, you have to do that for the 3D Bitmoji. There's no other way around it. The other stuff though that I'm going to show you, just have to use the Chrome extension.
Okay, because when I downloaded the Chrome extension, it said you have to link a phone for the bit. Is it Bitmoji, like the actual app?
Yeah, it's the Bitmoji extension.
Yeah.
And let me sign out of my Bitmoji. So when I go in to sign in, the only thing I have to do is put in my email address and password, because I've had Bitmoji before it was a Snapchat thing.
Okay,
Teresa?
well, I don't have Snapchat, and it made me do all the stuff through my phone.
Okay.
Teresa, can I say something? Because I had that happen to me, and I think I know what happened.
Okay, good.
When I first tried to sign up, it asked me if I wanted to use the Bitmoji keyboard. And then when you said yes, because I was thinking, oh yeah, I would like use the Bitmoji, it came up with that, and I was like, oh no, I don't want that. But then when I exited out, I already had a Bitmoji account, so I think it's a little bit confusing because they're asking you if you want to use their keyboard portion of Bitmoji, and you don't need to.
No,
so you can
don't
say
need to.
cancel, and then you still have a Bitmoji account that isn't tied to any kind of credit card or anything like that.
Right. So Jana, try that.
Okay, because I was able to create the Bitmoji account, but I still, but I did the keyboard thing ahead of that. But then it's after that it tells you that the thing. So is there a way to cancel all that?
I don't know, because like I said, I've had mine for a really, really long time, and I don't have any of that associated with it.
Okay.
Maybe you could uninstall it.
Okay, I'll try that.
And go back in, but you can always call their, I guess, text their help desk.
All right. Yeah, I just didn't want to go through all the training and then not use it if it was going to if it was going to record my text messages and stuff. So I was like, never mind.
Well, the 3D portion is a small portion of everything that I'm going to show you Tuesday.
All right. Sorry, I've got a baby in the background. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Teresa.
Yes.
I was filling out the form for this time for this session to upload my artifact.
Right.
Last session I had when I created that one from the Google slide and the template, I had one of my kids do that activity. So I uploaded what he did in the link there in the Seesaw 2 portion.
Yeah, I saw it.
I'm sorry if I did that wrong. But then today, when I'm in the form, it says link to student work.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to link the student work from last week, even though the activity I made for this week will be different?
Yeah, if you would, it'll just make it easier for me when I go in and check it. Everything will be nice and neat in my spreadsheet, and I can just click, 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 and then check you off.
Okay, but the activity won't match the
It
work.
doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure you were okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.